Hello YouTube, how's it going? And oh my god, I'm actually getting ready to go out, but I had to delay myself going out because we just got some incredible news about the new and improved AD items that are coming in patch 4.2. Again, huge shout out to Chose. If you don't know who he is a creator over in China, Wild Rift creator that always gets these stats early and always allows us to react to his videos and kind of give my opinions about all the changes that are going to be happening to ADC items and the new ADC items that are coming in patch 4.2. I'm telling you, this is going to blow your mind. Sit back, relax, and let's enjoy the show with this video. Again, huge credit to Chose. If you haven't checked him out already, make sure you check him out in the description. I will send you a link to his channel down in the description. First item, Immortal Shieldbow. I honestly think this is going to be a core item now on every single AD carry. It only costs 100 more gold than Stormrazor. It has the same amount of AD, the same amount of crit. You only lose 5% attack speed, but you gain 5% physical vamp instead. This is absolutely insane. Not only that, but the lifeline passive as well is not your normal lifeline passive that you're used to seeing. It's not like Steris Gauge or anything like that. If you would take damage that would reduce you below 35% maximum health, you would first gain a shield that absorbs 200 plus 5 per 1% crit. That's right, per 1% crit. That means if you have 100% crit chance, you get a 700 shield. 700 shield. That's absolutely insane. I mean, even if it was just like the standard, 50% crit rate, say for example, you just get 2 items or even just 1 item, for example. If you just take 1 item, you do your 5 damage times 25% crit chance, which will be with this item. That's extra 125 shield on top of the 200 shield that you're already getting with Shieldbow. And this will last for 5 seconds. But not only that, you also have the Battle Fury passive as well, which triggering Lifeline, which is the lifeline passive that we just talked about. You get 10% physical vamp for 8 seconds. So not only are you going to get this huge massive shield that's going to protect you from a lot of damage, especially when you drop low on health, you're also going to get 10% extra physical vamp on top of the 5% physical vamp that you already have with this item, and you're going to be able to heal up a huge amount of HP. And then the shield's going to be like, cool, the shield is gone, but now you're on maximum HP. This item, honestly, is going to be insane. I think it's probably going to be the first item on pretty much most AD carries. I think this pretty much negates Stormrazor completely now. Yes, you lose out on the 50 to 120 bonus magic damage, but getting physical vamp in the early game is going to be so crucial for AD carries, especially defensive AD carries as well. Say, for example, champions like Zeri is going to benefit a lot from this. Maybe a champion like Vayne might build this as well. I'm not too sure. I still think Blade Rune King is probably the better alternative than Shieldbow because it gives you a lot more attack speed. But I mean, any other AD carries as well, if you think about it, champions like Xayah, champions like even Draven as well will benefit a ton from this as well. Like Draven will benefit a lot from this. I'm just trying to think of other AD carries off the top of my head right now. But this item is absolutely insane. Not only that, but the build path is actually pretty decent as well. Noon Quiver, which is a new tier 2 item, which I'll talk about in just a second. You also have Longsword and Brawler's Gloves. Yes, the combined cost is quite expensive, 1,000 gold, but I think this item is 100% worth it. It's 100% worth it. I mean, it's cheaper than items like Divine Sunderer and Trinity Force, which you normally struggle or just hit the 1 item power spike before first dragon. So as long as you're not super far behind, you're going to get this item at the first objective. And like I said, with the stats that this item has, 40 AD, 25% crit chance, 15 attack speed, and 5% physical vamp. You drop low on health, you get an extra 10% physical vamp. So that's basically 15% physical vamp with this item. Like I'm saying to you, I think this item is absolutely insane. I think this item is incredible. I think this item is going to scale insanely well as well because your shield is going to go up pretty much every single time you get crit chance. You're going to get 25% crit chance with every single item completed, which basically gives you an extra 100 health shield every single time. It's honestly blows my mind how crazy and how good this item is going to be on AD carries. This just got me even more excited for patch 4.2, which is only under 2 weeks away now. We only got 2 weeks roughly to wait, just under 2 weeks. It's about 12 days to go roughly, so absolutely insane. So that's the first item. That's only the first item as well. Then we have Collector. Now, I don't think this item is going to be great. I don't think this item is outstanding. It doesn't have as much AD as what it has on PC League. I mean, the stats do look kind of similar to what it is on PC League. It costs 2,900 gold, which if you compare it if you compare it to an item like Ghostblade, could be a really, really good example. It costs the same amount as Ghostblade. So Ghostblade with and this item basically costs the same amount of gold. Now with Ghostblade, you get 10 extra AD, you get 50 AD instead, and obviously you get the ability ace instead. But with Collector, you get the critical strike chance. This item is going to be so good on Jhin. This is going to be an incredible item for Jhin, because not only does it give you the flat armor penetration, which Jhin loves, and also gives you quite a decent amount of AD, but this item gives you critical strike chance. I think that's the big one. Getting an item that already gives you critical strike chance, I think you can go for Ghostblade, Lord Dominic's Regards into Collector. I think that's going to be insane. 50% crit chance with Collector as well. That means after that, you can then build Infinity Edge if you want to as well. Then you have 75% crit chance. That means you only need one last item to give you 100% crit chance. And not only that, you have the Death and Taxes passive. If you deal damage that would leave an enemy champion below 5% health, you execute them and champion kills provide an additional 25 gold. The additional 25 gold doesn't mean too much. The big one is the execution for champions below 5% health. I think this is going to be insane for Jhin, because Jhin already does an insane amount of burst damage. That's what Jhin is known for. Huge amount of burst damage, especially with his force shot. But not only that, this item is also going to be insanely good on assassins, Kha'Zix, Rengar, especially Rengar as well, because Rengar's already kind of build crit in a way. I can see Rengar's going like Collector, Solari Charge Blade, Navori Quick Blades. Oh my god, that sounds disgusting. Actually, I'm just thinking about it now. Rengar actually might be pretty insane in this patch with this item. I'm just thinking about it now. It's gonna be very, very scary. Kha'Zix might be very interesting. Yes, the critical strike chance doesn't mean too much on a Kha'Zix, but the armor penetration, the AD, and also the passive for this item is going to be incredible on Kha'Zix. That means that you can execute enemies and try and get your resets on your third ability. Now, the build path is not too bad either. Serrated Dirk is a really, really good tier 2 item. Cloak of Agility is kind of okay. It's not really a great tier 2 item. And then 900 gold for the combined cost. So overall, it's not a bad item. Overall, I think it is pretty decent. I think it's okay. It could be better. I think this item could definitely be better, but it's definitely on the cheap side. Like I said, 2,900 gold is definitely on the cheap side. I'm not too sure if AD carries are going to be building this. Maybe. I'm trying to think of alternative, because you already have kind of like 3 crit items that you're always going to build. So you're always going to build Shieldbow now. You're always going to build Infinity Edge. That's already 2 crit items. You maybe can cancel out Bloodthirster unless you want double the physical vamp, which could be pretty broken actually on some AD carries. Obviously, there's some other items that are a bit later on, which I'll show you, which got changed as well. So we'll have to test and see. I mean, I'm going to be doing so much content in this new patch. I cannot wait. It's going to be super, super exciting. So that is Collector. This is the Noon Quiver, the tier 2 item. I think it's not too bad. 1,200 gold. I like to compare this to BF Sword. So this tier 2 item costs 300 less gold than BF Sword. Now, BF Sword gives you plus 40 AD, which is a heck of a lot of AD. Don't get me wrong. But this gives you 25 attack damage and 10% attack speed. So this item is cheaper than BF Sword, gives you less AD, 15 less AD, but it does give you 10% attack damage. Now, the cool thing, though, is that you can see that this item now builds from Phantom Dancer, Storm Razor, and Immortal Shieldbow. Now, you can see Storm Razor is an item here. This is going to change the Kai'Sa build very, very drastically. What you normally do at the moment with Kai'Sa, you go double BF Sword into Storm Razor, because Storm Razor builds off BF Sword. But now, I don't even know if you're going to go for this double Storm Razor, a double BF Sword strategy anymore for Kai'Sa, because your double BF Swords are only going to build into Infinity Edge, and that's it. And like Guardian Angel, what, you're going to leave a BF Sword until the last item and go Guardian Angel? I'm not too sure. Maybe you build one BF Sword, and then maybe you build... I'm trying to think now what you could actually do with this for Kai'Sa. I'm going to have to try and think of some like builds and everything off the top of my head. But you can maybe go something like just one BF Sword and then basically finish Immortal Shieldbow, because Immortal Shieldbow gives you attack speed. it could be a way to go. You just go BF Sword plus Immortal Shieldbow now, which can delay your first ability power spike by a lot. Like, by a lot. Unless you go like Noon Quiver, and then you can you build maybe another longsword? No, I don't even think that's going to be enough, to be honest with you. I got the game open as well just to give it a try as well. How much AD do you need again? I always forget how much AD you need to get the bonus 70 attack damage. Oh, this is going to be really, really difficult now, I think, for Kai'Sa to get 70 attack damage. I think 70 attack damage is quite a lot. So you have 40 attack damage from BF Sword. You have 25 attack damage from Noon Quiver. 40, 50, that's 65. Okay, so you can do that. So you can go BF Sword, Noon Quiver, plus another longsword. So I actually don't think that's that bad. Oh, actually, there's another longsword in here as well, right? Oh, okay. Wait, this is actually not too bad then. So you go BF Sword, Noon Quiver, Longswords, which is going to cost more than the double BF Sword power spike, but it's still going to be pretty early on, which means then you could build the Brawler's Gloves and then go into Completing Shieldbow, which gives you the 15% attack speed as well, because it's going to be your AD and attack speed item. Okay, actually, we're kind of saved. It's actually not that bad. It's actually really good that this builds off Longsword as well. So we go Noon Quiver, BF Sword, Longsword, and then a BF Sword later on will go into Infinity Edge. Okay, we're saved. Kai'Sa is saved. We're okay, chat. Kai'Sa is saved. We're all good. But yeah, Noon Quiver, very interesting. Phantom Dancer, I'll talk about in just a little bit. Storm Razor, I think is very interesting, and now builds it from Noon Quiver. But again, as a 2-2 item, I don't think it's that bad. This is a new item that builds into Nash's Tooth. This is Nash's Talon. I'm not going to talk about this too much. I think the most important thing about this is that the Magic Needle, the passive of Nash's Tooth, now gives you adaptive damage. So it gives you AD or AP, which is going to be very, very interesting. I think this could even work for some AD carries, to be honest with you. So this builds into Nash's Tooth, which I believe is going to be, oh no, it's not even the next item. Let me quickly skip to Nash's Tooth so you can see Nash's Tooth as well. There you go. This is Nash's Tooth. So this gets decreased by 200 gold now. You get 45% attack speed, and also you get ability haste. You have the Tooth passive, which now is a new passive, which gives you 30 AD or 60 ability power adaptive. So depending on how much you have, or if you have more AD or more AP, both of them, it's going to go either way. I mean, to be fair, 60 extra ability power is actually insane. I'm very curious, actually, what Nash's Tooth does at the moment in terms of its passive. So all it does, Nash's Tooth passive, is attack still 15 bonus magic damage, which scales with ability power. So you're not going to get the extra bonus attack speed, and you actually lose... Oh my god, you lose the attack speed, and you also lose the ability power from the actual item. So overall, this item is kind of gone a little bit crazy. So Nash's Tooth costs 200 less golds, which is pretty decent, but it loses 5% attack speed. You now don't get the ability power that you normally get with Nash's Tooth. That's now turned into the Tooth passive, but it's interesting because you can now get AD from it instead, which means it might be viable in some AD carries, like Varys, for example. It could be pretty good to get attack speed and also get the extra bit of AD. And you also got the amount of ability haste, but then you have another new passive, which is the Devour passive. Basic attack still 15 plus 25% of your bonus damage, plus 25% of your AP as bonus magic damage to the target hit. So this item actually might be pretty damn insane on some AD carries. I'm thinking Vayne, I'm thinking Varys is like the two main ones that have a lot of attack speed. The Tooth passive is going to give them both extra AD. The Devour passive is also going to give them extra auto attack damage at the same time. A bunch of attack speed. And the great thing is that this item is not stuck on AP champions now. You don't have to build this just on AP champions. You can build this on AD champions now because the core stats are not ability power. It comes from the Tooth passive. There's so many different things that I want to test out. I just want patch 4.2 right freaking now. Anyway, let's move on to the next item. The next item is Phantom Dancer. This item actually has a mistake. Chose actually DM'd me on Twitter. I will quickly get up the DM now on Twitter. He said that he made a mistake on Phantom Dancer, and Phantom Dancer actually now gives you plus 25 attack damage. So this item now gives you plus 25 attack damage, but still gives you the crit rate and also the attack speed. So this is now another item that you can build that gives you both attack damage and also attack speed. You still have the same Shadow Warp passive, which gives you movement speed, but now has a new passive called Spectral Warp. After one basic attack, you gain additional 7% bonus movement speed for a few seconds. Pretty good for champions like Vayne. Pretty good for champions like Xayah as well, if you want to reposition anything like that. It does not stack, which is interesting. But the cool part is after 4 basic attacks, you gain an additional 30% attack speed for the same duration. So for 3 seconds, you gain an insane amount of 30% more additional attack speed on top of the already 35% attack speed that you get. I'm thinking of some crazy Vayne builds now where you go something like Blade of the Rune King, Wit's Ends, Nash's Tooth, Phantom Dancer. Imagine your damn attack speed with this, with lethal tempo as well. On top of that, there's going to be some crazy attack speed items, I think, for this. And attack speed in general is going to help a lot of AD carries, especially with items like this with Phantom Dancer, because it also gives you 25 AD as well. The item, cost of this item is increased by 100, but giving it 25 AD is not actually that damn bad. Like 25 AD for an attack speed item is pretty decent. Obviously, it's not going to be the crazy amount of like plus 55 AD like an Infinity Edge, but this is supposed to be an attack speed item. But now this attack speed item gives you extra AD on top of that, and you gain an additional 30% attack speed for 3 seconds after you basic attack 4 times. This item is going to be broken on Vayne for sure, and could be strong on other AD carries as well. I think it's insane. Also, I think the build path is pretty good as well. Zeal is a really good tier 2 item. We've already seen Noon Quiver, which is also a pretty damn good tier 2 item, and it only costs 400 combined gold to get the Zeal plus the Noon Quiver on top of that. I think this item is also going to be incredible. I think this is going to be an absolutely insane item for a lot of different AD carries. Then we have Essence Riva, which I thought Essence Riva was going to get the Sheen passive. I made the prediction, but no, they've actually made Essence Riva into an energized item. I don't think this item is going to be that good at all. This item is a lot cheaper though. It's decreased by 200 gold. You get 5 less AD. The critical rate is still the same, and the ability haste is still the same. So you lose 5 AD. You get basically it's decreased in 200 gold. You have the energized passive as well, which I don't think is like, I don't know, like it's really, really weird, but like it's an energized passive, but it's different to the energized passive from Stormrazor, Rapid Fire Cannon, and also Static Shiv. So this passive is called Energize. The other passives from Stormrazor, Rapid Fire Cannon, Static Shiv is called Energized with a D at the end. So this is different to the other ones, but it could make it pretty decent because it empowers your next ability or basic attack, increasing damage by up to 30% based on your critical strike chance, and it has a 6-second cooldown. So it's not that bad, but basic attacks against champions reduce the cooldown by 1 second. So this could be pretty good. I don't think it's going to be good as a first item, but it could be good as a last item, because we're going to be getting the 30% increasing the damage by 30% based on your critical strike chance. So the more critical strike chance you have, the more damage you're going to do with this. And the basic attack afterwards. So the more attack speed you get with this item, so you can combo this with like Phantom Dancer, for example, which now gives you a huge amount of attack speed. You could keep on dealing damage with this energized passive. You already have the Mana Siphon as well, which base attacks are going to restore 3% of your missing mana, which is still the exact same as before. The build path I don't really like too much. I don't like Warhammer at all. I don't like Cloak of Agility at all. 850 gold is kind of a lot. I don't know what to feel like. I don't think this is going to be a first item. You're seeing Essence Reaver at the moment sometimes built as a first item on some AD carries. Champions like Lucian, for example, which I'm not too sure this is going to help. I mean, this might help a bit with Lucian because you have the double up passive, which is going to count basically as 2 basic attacks, but you have to do it against champions, which is also going to be very, very important. So again, another very, very interesting item. I'm not too sure how it's going to affect the current meta that we see. This next item, I'm telling you, Corki and Varys are going to be the 2 strongest AD carries in it. Actually, I don't know. In competitive, Corki and Varys are going to be the 2 strongest AD carries. In solo queue, I'm not too sure because I think Shieldbow is insane. Now, this is unchanged. The before item of Muramana is unchanged. Manamune unchanged. Everything is exactly the same. No change at all. This is the big change with Manamune. When this gets upgraded to Muramana now, this item now works with abilities. This is probably one of, if not the biggest changes in this patch. This item now working with abilities is insane. It's absolutely insane. I don't know why he says that the attack damage is increased, because it's still the same, unless it's the attack damage with the mana. Consume 2.5% mana and deal additional value damage. Okay, I'm not too sure, but read this here. Look, when dealing damage to an enemy champion with abilities, you consume 4% of your current mana and deal +6 additional physical damage equal to the consumed amount of mana spent. This is going to make Corki insanely broken, Varys insanely broken. This is what made AP Corki a thing in PC League. This Manamune working with your abilities. I think Corki now with Manamune, with Trinity Force, and also on top of that, you're going to go for Riftmaker. Them 3 items on Corki are going to make it absolutely insane. Your abilities are going to do so much damage now with Muramana. As I said, on top of that, you're also going to go Varys now with Muramana. This is going to be a huge buff to Ezreal as well with his abilities. You might even see Manamune on some other champions now because it works with your abilities. I think this item is absolutely insane. When you upgrade that Manamune into Muramana now, it works on your abilities. And this is going to be, like I said, incredible for Corki and Varys and also on some other champions. Nash's Tooth, I already spoke about. There's a few other things as well in terms of some rune changes, which I'll quickly go over. I don't have a lot of time. Electrocute is getting another buff, it seems like. I'm not too sure of the actual numbers of the Electrocute at the moment, so I'm quickly checking for you now in game. So Electrocute at the moment currently has a 20-second cooldown, but in the later stages of the game, it's now going to be 13 seconds. So the cooldown of Electrocute is now going to be based on level, but the damage numbers have not changed at all. So it's a huge buff to Electrocute in the late game, and I think it's going to be pretty huge on some champions that already run Electrocute. Rakan, Kha'Zix can probably run Electrocute now. Jace as well was also a huge benefit with Electrocute. That 13-second cooldown in late game is going to be pretty big for Electrocute, and is now going to be a huge buff for late game champions that want to run Electrocute. There's a new rune called Toughness. Hunter Titan has been removed. So Hunter Titan's been removed completely from the game, which is very surprising because I think Hunter Titan is pretty decent, but now it's replaced with a new rune called Toughness. Now, Hunter Titan gives you 3% tenacity per unique takedown. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So that's 15% tenacity. But the good thing about Toughness is now you get 10% tenacity at the start of the fight, at the start of the game. You're not going to get 3% tenacity. You're not going to get 0% tenacity at the start of the game. You're going to get 10% tenacity at the start of the game. This is huge if you're against any crowd control champions. Lux, Morgana. There's so many that I can name off the top of my head, but I don't have enough time, unfortunately. But another big thing is when affected by crowd control, you gain 16 to 30% bonus armor and magic resistance, which increases with level for 1.5 seconds. So even if you are hit with crowd control, you gain bonus armor and bonus magic resist, which will help you. But also tenacity means that you're going to be affected less by them roots, by the stuns, by everything else. It's absolutely insane. The root duration is refreshed with each consecutive instance of crowd control. So it's refreshed. So if you get hit by multiple crowd control, this is going to refresh the duration of the extra armor and magic resist that you get. I think this rune is going to be insane for any champions that or pretty much any dual lane champions as well. I think it's going to be pretty good. I still think bone plating is going to be insanely strong, but if you are against a lot of crowd control, this is going to be 100% the best rune to take. Like I said, Morgana, Lux, any of these sort of crowd control champions are going to be insane. Like I said, it's a lot better than Hunter Titan. And also Hunter Genius has been removed. I think both Hunter Genius and Hunter Titan were kind of like meh runes. Like they were okay. Like it just depends so much on takedown. But Riot are like, cool, we're going to get rid of Hunter Titan. We're going to get rid of Hunter Genius. But now look at this new inspiration tree rune as well. The following levels, you gain the following bonuses. Just a reminder as well, Hunter Genius at the start of the game gave you 3 ability haste. You now get 6 ability haste at level 1, and you gain an additional 6 ability haste at level 6. Level 6 doesn't take you quite long. You get 12% ability haste, 12 ability haste, sorry, at level 6. At level 6, that you can hit level 6 at first dragon. You can hit level 6 easily at 5 minutes, like very easily. And then also at level 11, after hitting an enemy champion with a basic ability, you reduce the cooldown of that ability by 15%. You can use an ability and get that reduced by 15% just by hitting the ability. Again, I think this is going to be an insane rune on so many different champions. I'm thinking of Karma is going to be insane. I'm thinking of Orianna as well that likes to spam abilities. Ziggs as well. Any champion that loves to spam abilities. Again, I'm so glad that they're getting rid of Hunter Titan, Hunter Genius, because it relying too much on takedowns was a pretty bad thing. It kind of punishes you a little bit if you don't get takedowns and kind of wants you to go aggressive in a way. But these two new runes, this is absolutely great now for ability haste, and this is insane for tenacity. Like I said, this is going to get used a lot against champions that you're going to be against with a lot of crowd control. Say, for example, you're against a lot of crowd control in a duo lane, I would happily take this rune. You get thresh hooked, you're going to gain a huge amount of bonus armor and magic resist. I think it's absolutely insane. Then another final thing, which I actually haven't talked about yet, because I wasn't too sure if it was actually true or not, but look at this. We have extra attack range now on AD carries. This was leaked by Chose a while ago, but this has now been confirmed in game. But you can see the extra attack range is actually not that much. 1, 2, 3 and 3/4 steps it was before. Now it's 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. So you're basically gaining like an extra little bit of attack range. The attack range again is not too much. Like, look at the attack range. It's like, this is again half of the step, and then it just gets increased a little bit. This is really good on short range champions like Vayne, for example. This is going to be great. Zeri as well, this is going to be great. I think on the long range champions like Caitlyn, for example, I don't think it's going to mean too much. I mean, for Caitlyn, it might be pretty good as well, because it means you can look to kind of use your attack range and abuse your attack range in the early stages of the game. But this also works for champions like, I don't think Jace has changed at all, it looks like. Oh, maybe Jace has changed. Actually, no, Jace has not changed at all. And Graves doesn't have the change. Yeah, I mean, that's totally fine. I think Graves and Jace not having the change there is totally fine. But there you go. I'm so hyped for these changes. I had to make this video and give you all my opinions. Again, I think Shieldbow is going to be absolutely insane. Just to recap, I think Shieldbow, absolutely insane. I think Collector's going to be okay on some assassins and some AD carries like Jhin. Noon Quiver, really good tier 2 item. This new tier 2 item for Nash's Tooth, pretty decent. Phantom Dancer, remember, this gives plus 25 AD now. This is a mistake from Chose. He DM'd me to let me know, so this item is also going to be really good. SS Riva, I'm not too sure yet. I probably have to test it out. Again, I think it's going to be more of a late game item rather than an early game item. I'm not too sure. Again, I don't think mana is really a problem for most champions in Wild Rift. I think most of the time it's pretty okay because you can reserve your mana quite easily. Muramana upgraded from Manamune, insane item, S+ tier, absolutely incredible. Nash's Tooth, now a viable item on some AD carries, absolutely insane item, really good. New runes, insane. Electrocute buff, awesome. New toughness rune, amazing. And this new rune Transcendence, also amazing. And then we get some extra attack range on our AD carries. What can I say? I mean, if this doesn't get you hyped about patch 4.2, which is only about 12 days away, I don't know what does. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I can talk about these items for honestly hours, but unfortunately, I don't have that time. But yeah, I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you all very soon. Take care of yourselves. Have a good one. Peace.